I swear to God, it wasn't me, but this little like office room I'm in right now, it smells like dog shit. Like it smells like someone took a dump on the floor and just left it there for a week. It didn't smell like this 2 hours ago when I was down here. It for some reason a ghost must have walked in here and shit its pants because it smells awful down here. Besides that, I want to welcome you back, boys. We're going to do something a little bit different today. Usually I'm doing film analysis stuff, but we're going to hop into some fantasy football. I've never done a fantasy football video before, and you know what? I really like fantasy football. We're gonna throw at you some top fades for the 2023 season, and this is obviously very, very early video, but this also can apply to both Dynasty fantasy football as well as redraft fantasy football. Dynasty probably being a little more useful information right now, considering you can make trades as opposed to redraft, which, I mean, shit can change so much in the next, 6 months till the next season starts. But let's go ahead and hop into it. All right, so we're doing this in no particular order, and I do want to point out, I want a disclaimer here before I get all these fucking haters in the comments telling me shit. Like, these aren't going to be like your everyday fades that everyone's giving you. These are going to be hot takes, all right? This isn't going to be like, oh, you need to fade Davante Adams because he's going to be 31 without a quarterback. No, I'm giving you some hot takes here. This is some juicy stuff. And I think people might be overvaluing going into the draft next year and as well as in Dynasty currently. So if you're in Dynasty, maybe you want to trade away these players for some draft capital. You know, you got those drafts coming up pretty soon. First guy on this list, this one's actually not much of a hot take, to be honest, but and it's probably more applicable to Dynasty when it comes to fading someone, because I don't think anyone's expecting much of Javonte Williams next year. Coming off of a major knee injury, obviously it was not only just an ACL tear, but it was a pretty severe ACL tear. Coming off of that major knee injury, he's obviously going to be very slow to start next season, and he's probably not going to get into full gear until the 2024 season. So redraft, I would most likely avoid him in any kind of redraft format. When it comes to Dynasty, though, you might want to say, oh, we can hold on to him for, 2024 season when he's 24 years old, still going to be young in that year, and he's going to be back to his full form. Well, first of all, very serious knee injury. We're not sure if he's going to be back to full form at any point. Second of all, the Broncos have just not shown a willingness to make him the lead back. And especially a guy who's going to be, having a major knee injury in his career, I'm not sure they want to make him the lead back. Now, I know they're going to have a brand new offensive coordinator, and there's a good chance in 2024 that they have a completely different offense than what they have right now. But history has shown with the Denver Broncos that they just do not want to give, the entire workload to one guy. Obviously, they had Melvin Gordon when Javonte Williams was healthy with the Broncos, and they still just weren't willing to give Javonte Williams the lead back role. He still was in mostly kind of like a 60-40 split carry backfield. So when it comes to Dynasty, probably want to trade him away. Maybe you get a first-round pick out of it. When it comes to redraft, I would kind of just avoid him for the 2023 season. All right, so we got the easy one out of the way. Javonte Williams, everyone's kind of fading a little bit already. But let's get into the hot stuff, hot off the press stuff. This is where you get out your pitchforks and you shoot me some angry comments in the comment section, because guess what? The more angry comments you post, the better my video does in the algorithm. So let's get fiery down there. Let's see some anger, all right? I'm going to fade JK Dobbins for the 2023 football season. Now, this is for a couple of reasons. All right, one, if you're playing in PPR, and obviously if you're playing in standard scoring, this doesn't really apply to you. Also, you get with the times. Come on now, play PPR. Grow up. If you're playing in PPR, he doesn't catch passes, okay? He only caught, I think 7 passes all year. He played in 10 games. He caught 7 passes, I believe. And you might be saying, all right, Krusty, that's fine, all right? Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry, they don't catch a lot of passes. They do very well in fantasy. They were top 10 players in fantasy this year. First of all, I don't think JK Dobbins is as talented as either of those players. Second of all, they're both the feature lead backs in their offense, right? Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, they're getting 20 plus carries a game. That's, I thought the last game of the season, I believe Derrick Henry got 30 carries in the game or something like that. JK Dobbins has traditionally played in a split backfield when it comes to the Ravens. When it comes to him and Gus Edwards, Gus Edwards is still under contract for 2023, so he's going to be in a split backfield. I do think he'll get a majority of the carries. However, you also have to remember it's the Ravens offense, and this is predicated on Lamar Jackson being there next season. He could leave, and this might all change, but if Lamar Jackson is there next season, not only does he have to share carries with Gus Edwards, but he has to share carries with Lamar Jackson, right? I mean, he's basically in a three-headed backfield with Lamar Jackson, JK Dobbins, and Gus Edwards, minus, any ability to score points in PPR. So with that being said, I mean, I think he's a very efficient player. I think he's going to get a decent number of carries. I think he's going to go for like 80, 90 rushing yards a game, somewhere around that range. That's only 8 or 9 points. All right, when you're talking PPR, you need to be expecting more than that. And then past that, he basically becomes touchdown dependent when it comes to having a good game, right? If you want him to score 16 points, if you're not catching passes as a running back, you basically got to score a touchdown or two, right? Obviously, Gus Edwards is going to steal a couple touchdowns. Lamar Jackson going to steal a couple touchdowns. I think a lot of people are seeing JK Dobbins as an RB1 going into next season, one of those top 10 guys. I think he's closer to like the 12, 13 point range per game. I see him more as like a mid RB2 with some high upside. I mean, there are going to be a couple games where he goes off for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. And again, I mean, this is by no means saying that like these are going to be shitty players to have on your roster. I'm just saying I don't think they're going to be worth where they're drafted at. Like I said, I think J.K. Dobbins is going to be viewed as an RB1 going into next season. I think he's closer to like a mid RB2 going into next season. All right, the third and final guy that we're fading for the 2023 season and beyond, I guess, if you're playing Dynasty. And this list is actually entirely running backs now that I'm looking at it. But I'm going to be fading Rhamondre Stevenson for next year. All right, he had a top 10 RB season with the Patriots this year. Damian Harris was out for most of the year, and Rhamondre Stevenson did a great job of being very efficient on the ground as well as catching a lot of passes. However, we have to remember the team he's playing for. He's playing for the Patriots, and the Patriots don't like to have a lead back. They like to have a split backfield. They like to have that shared backfield, and I don't have a whole lot of faith that they aren't going to bring another running back in or bring back Damian Harris and then go into that split backfield again. Last game of the season, the Patriots must win to have a chance to make the playoffs. All right, Damian Harris was back and somewhat healthy, and he was running like shit. He averaged like 3.3 yards a carry or something like that. Yet, not only did Rhamondre Stevenson only play 49% of the snaps, but Damian Harris got a majority of the carries, and the only reason they had a decent fantasy game was because he caught 5 passes. Now, again, I don't think he's going to be a bad fantasy football player for next season. I just don't think we're going to see the 17-point per game season that he had last year. That's due to being the Patriots system. They just don't like to have a lead back. They don't like to hand the keys to one guy. Right? I don't see them changing that going into next year. All right, but that's pretty much it, boys. If you didn't like any of my takes, then fuck you. I don't know. That's pretty much it.